Our next speaker was elected in June of this year as Limerick City Councillor for Aontu. She is well known and highly respected as a tireless and effective advocate for the most vulnerable in society and is a strong defender of the right to life. She runs a weekly homeless outreach on the streets of Limerick, is passionate in helping people with drug addictions, and is also known for her work in championing animal welfare. She is driven by a belief that all human life is precious and worthy of protection, both born and unborn. I'm delighted to introduce, all the way from Limerick, Councillor Sarah Beasley.
Thanks very much, everyone. I'm delighted to be here today. I have a speech, and I'm actually going to tell you my story of how I have the badge of honour for this pro-life that I'm so proud to wear. From the minute I could walk and talk, all I ever wanted to do was work with animals. I had a passion for an injured bird or an injured frog, or one time I brought a bat home, much to my mother's horror. But I had this thing that they were the most vulnerable, this weak animals that needed to be looked after. So anyhow, I moved back to Ireland. I lived in Dublin. I had a great social life. Everything was fine. Came home to Limerick to have my son, who's now 22. And I went to work for a political party. And I was the constituency secretary. And I loved my job. We were helping people in hotels that were homeless. We were getting diagnosis for children with autism. It was the best job I've ever had. And I was embedded into what that political party said and did. So fast track to 2018, and I'm sitting in the office with all my colleagues and friends, and this abortion started to come up. And I was like, lads, why are we talking about it? And I must have been asleep since I moved back to Ireland. But anyhow, they started a conversation was being had, and this political party didn't know what way people were going to vote. So they sat and they sat and they sat, and it was being discussed in front of me, but I just carried on working. I said, I'll say nothing. And one day, eventually, they realised that the vote was most probably going to pro-choice. So the leader of the party came out and said, now, this is what we're doing. We're going to go with the people and we're going to be pro-choice. So I sat there that day and I said, look, I feel really uncomfortable with this. And they said, why? I said, because I don't believe in abortion. It's wrong, killing a life. And they said, but you can't be pro-life. And I said, what's pro-life? Because life is life. And from that day onwards, for 2 months, I was bullied. I was ostracised. It was just a horrible experience. So I went out sick for a very long time. So I'm out sick, and all the people that I thought my friends and colleagues weren't. And then it was rumbling around Limerick of this person that I was, and all I was pro-life. So I sat out sick, and I reached out to Paddy Sabine, who is my friend and my mentor. And Paddy was going through exactly the same thing. In the same political party, we couldn't be who we wanted to be. And he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm out sick. Paddy didn't have that option. So we met, and there was other people around the country that had our views as well. And we decided, once we split away from that political party, that we were strong enough. We were angry after the abortion came in, that we wanted to make a difference. So we formed Aontu. And now we are we're a good political movement. We've done really, really well. I fought very, very hard for my seats, knocking on doors when people realise you're pro-choice, or sorry, pro-life, I should say, and you're trying to explain why I am. And I always say to them, I feed the homeless, the most vulnerable. I protect life, the most vulnerable. I love animals, and I protect them, the most vulnerable. And this is what we're all here for. Every single person has been on a journey to actually turn around and put that badge on and say, I'm proud to be pro-life, against everybody, all the odds. All my friends were like, oh, Sarah, you're so backward, you're so Catholic, you're so conservative. I'm not at all. I'm actually way out thinking, and, but this is embedded into me. That's what the nuns most probably were trying to do. They weren't. Back in those days, there was no sexual education. So seeing these babies alive in a bucket, and the nuns take them out to give them life. So it's really important now that I suppose I'm here to say I'm in an inch of the fourth seat in Limerick City. The Green Party are rocky, and I'm nearly there, but I don't have canvassers or leafleters. I need everybody that knows someone in Limerick to help out, because if we get that seat, that's another pro-life TD, within the Dáil. How strong would that be? And how strong would it if we have a female TD to turn around and say, this is why I'm protecting life, from the unborn to the elderly. And with this assisted dying, I have family members, and it's rife in our family, dementia. So are these people now going to be a burden on society? If the fair deal doesn't go straight in, the family can't afford it. Is this what's going to happen? Is this going to be what the fair deal means, that they'll actually be put to sleep? I'm working as a veterinary nurse, and the whole thing as a practitioner of animals is that you're trying to save their life or put them out of pain. And it's an awful thing to take a life, and that's just an animal. So can you imagine taking the life of an old person or someone with dementia, or someone like in some of the countries where there is assisted dying, that someone with autism or mental health would go and actually have their life taken? So we have the responsibility. We have an election now in the next 7 weeks, and I'm begging every single one of you, we need help. Aontu are nearly there, was at 4% in the polls. That means there's another 3 TDs seats there for the taking. But I can't do it all on my own. I'm canvassing 6 hours a day. I'm doing council work. I'm doing constituency work. We're picking up queries on the door. And even if people are uncomfortable with canvassing, leafleting is so easy to do. All you have to do is ask your local person running for pro-life, can I have 400 of your leaflets? And they'll tell you where to put the leaflets in the door. We need to get the message out. And the reason I got elected wasn't because I was pro-life. It was because people saw me feeding the homeless. And I said, besides the unborn, these people are so vulnerable. In Limerick City, the crack cocaine is so strong now. Within a month, girls are losing their teeth. Their skin is disastrous. Their hair is falling out. They're prostituting themselves. These kids are 16 years of age, and they've got into this drug area because what's happening is they're being mules to the big dealers. So from 10 or 11 years of age, they're getting the, Canada Goose jacket or the Rolex watch by one of the big drug dealers, and they're shifting the drugs out into the suburbs. And then they realise they'll take a little bit of this and they'll take a little bit of that, and all of a sudden they're hooked. They're on the streets. And many a time I've seen a car pull up and take a young, vulnerable girl that's on drugs into the car, and we know what the end game is there. So look, I'm just imploring all of you, please, 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 if you know anybody, I desperately want to get that seat because I desperately want a pro-life TD in Limerick City. Thanks very much for your time.